Okay, so Prince Hassan bin Talal of Jordan is in the news, and if you're unfamiliar with who he is, allow me to explain briefly so you can understand who I'm talking about. Now, this is Prince Hassan bin Talal of Jordan with Pope Francis. Now, these are the two individuals who, for over 12 years, I've been saying to watch as the ones who will be the false prophet and the Antichrist. Now, what's interesting to note is that everything I've been saying pointing to Prince Hassan bin Talal of Jordan is because Antichrist is also called the Assyrian, which means he's going to be the king of Iraq and Syria, which his ancestors ruled. Daniel 11 talks about he is the king of the north to go south, but avoids the nation Edom, Moab, and Ammon, which is present-day Jordan. And the most significant clue is in order to have the third temple, you need the permission of the Hashemite kingdom of Jordan. He was also passed over to be king, just as Jesus caused the Passover lamb. And so he was been looking to be a king for quite some time, so that when he fulfills the first seal, a crown is given to him. That's how you know we're in the first seal, is when he becomes king. And as you know, you've been following my work, you know how I show that Pope Francis is the one who'll be the false prophet. But we see he has to fulfill the prophecy in Revelation 17, which depicts the rise of the false prophet, where he resurrects in the passage, chapter 17, verse 8, where it says the beast who was and is not will ascend out of the bottomless pit, and the world will marvel when they see him. And that is the same title used over and over again for Jesus when you read the one who was and is to come. It's just a counterfeit version. So we're watching for these two. Now, what's interesting to know, he was just in the news recently. So let's take a look at that real quick so you can see what we're talking about here, or what he's doing, or what he's up to. So here we see Prince Hassan bin Talal of Jordan visits Doctors Without Borders, and notice how he comes off as a humanitarian. He's out to help people. He's been projecting this for the last 70 years, promoting interfaith dialogue. He speaks Hebrew, English, French, Spanish, and Arabic, of course. He's the 42nd descendant of the Prophet Muhammad, just as Jesus is the 42nd descendant of the Prophet Abraham. So this is the guy, well respected all throughout the world, even though you may never heard of him, by European royals, presidents, South America, Chile, Arabs, Indonesia, Japan, the list goes on. But anyway, let's see what it says here. It says, he visited Doctors Without Borders. The president of the Arab Thought Forum, Prince Hassan, visited Doctors Without Borders Reconstructive Surgery Hospital Wednesday, where he met with doctors, hospitals, and officials, representatives of international organizations and physicians of the Royal Media Services. During the visit, Prince Hassan praised humanitarian efforts in alleviating the suffering caused by wars and conflict, underscoring the role of humanitarian efforts upholding human dignity. This phrase, human dignity, is what he loves. He always talks about human dignity over and over and over and over again. So this is something that you'll see he talks about a lot. Then we have here, Prince Hassan toured several hospitals, hospital wards where patients received treatment, and was briefed on the latest medical technologies adopted at the facility, particularly in the burn units. The hospital medical director presented overview of the organization's activities and the latest developments in monitoring the physical and psychological conditions of war victims. He highlighted MSF's continued efforts to provide comprehensive care for individuals affected by war and severe injuries, and these are the people of Gaza. And not to mention, Jordan has been the recipient of all the refugees in the Middle East, from Iraq war to the war before that, to Gaza, to you name it, Syria. They've been the refugee hub for situations going on, and he has been the advocate for human dignity. These are these coin phrases he loves to talk about. I even have his books where he talks about that, but I'll cover that later. It goes on to say that she added that the children are still receiving medical care from the hospital. At the conclusion of the visit, Prince Hassan noted the importance of continued coordination among institutions working to treat war victims in order to mitigate both physical and psychological impacts of conflict. He urged integration, local and international efforts to enhance humanitarian and medical work in Jordan and the wider region. The wider region is what he's talking about, which is called West Asia, North Africa, which is essentially another way of branding the Middle East, because Middle East has such a bad brand. He coined West Asia, North Africa because it sounds better. It's more palatable. But the thing is that it's the same region. But remember how Daniel talks about the kingdom of iron and the kingdom of clay? Well, the kingdom of clay is the region that he envisions, which is basically the Eastern Roman Empire. If you're familiar with the Western Roman Empire, which is from Israel, which is from the western part of the world, and the Eastern Roman Empire was mostly comprised of Turkey going all the way to Levant, to Egypt, and to the northern part of Africa. And that's what he envisions. He wants to ultimately fulfill what his great-great-grandfather, King Hussein bin Ali, initiated, which is the Hashemite kingdom of Arabia, where he wants to be the king of all Arabs and Muslims, similar to how you have Spain, Britain, you have Poland, and they're all called Europeans. Same thing that he wants to do with the region, West Asia, North Africa, that he calls it, and that is to create a region of Arabs and Muslims that he will be the king of. So, and this is depicted in the Daniel prophecy, kingdom of clay. So there's a lot of things that he's doing, or the things that he cites and says, and that he advocates for, but it's ultimately, this is his goal. But he can't do it without the resurrection of Pope Francis. And after Pope Francis resurrects, he gets the power of the 10 kings, which is verse 12 of Revelation 17. So Pope Francis needs to get the power of the 10 kings. Then after he gets the power of the 10 kings, he'll then destroy the Vatican, fulfilling the prophecy of the falling away. And that's verse 18 of chapter 17. And then eventually we'll go into the first seal, where Pope Francis will be that white horse with the power, and Pope Francis and Prince Hassan bin Talal will ride that power. And ultimately what we're looking at here is these two working together, where they will usher in the end times, where we're going to see these two as usher in the kingdom of iron and the kingdom of clay, the false prophet, the Antichrist, the rider of the horse, the beast of the sea, the beast of the earth. This intra-independency between these two is ultimately what we're going to find. So just keeping you up what's going on with Prince Hassan bin Talal of Jordan as we anticipate the resurrection of Pope Francis. All right, let me know what you think about it in the comments below, or you can visit my website, therevelationwatchman.com, for more information. Or you could join the Watchman Tribe group, where you can also fellowship with other like-minded watchmen as well. And of course, if you want more information about this, I have a book called The Falling Away, which it depicts the rise, fall, and resurrection of Pope Francis, and how he'll be the false prophet, and the destruction of the Vatican is the prophesied falling away that has to happen first, leading to Jesus' second coming. So you can check that out, link in the bio or in the description. Thank you so much. Can't wait to hear from you again, or can't wait to serve you again. Take care.